All right, let's keep this MIT, MI, and I'll be T. Binary beat and tree class running.
Building, my wife is more encourages encouraging
How much
of
information do you guys get?
transformation.
If I do this button right
well,
here,
she's
do you
also
guys
probably
get it?
more compassionate too than me. She probably has both traits more than me.
Yeah, well,
I'm on Facebook right now.
at least in
I'm gonna
terms
get
of
some pictures
agreeableness,
for you. Make
I'm
this
probably
better.
negative emotion. I have
more
quite a feminine
cleaner
temperament,
and more
and so I'm
efficient
probably more agreeable
for
than
the
my wife. I
photos.
think when we took my personality test, that was the case.
Where
So we're a bit mixed on that front. When kids used to come over and visit my kids, we used to have a talk with the kids when they come over, teenagers. It's like, we're really happy you're here, and you're welcome here. But if you do anything stupid and we never see you again, that would be just fine.
That would be great.
And that worked pretty well. And when they first came to my house, they were always more scared of me. But
Fundamental
after they came about
analysis,
5 times, they were more
obviously.
scared of my wife. So
Or functional
There you go. I can
analysis,
see that.
depending
Now
on how you
let
do
me
it. This is a
the other question
chalkboard that goes up,
that comes to
down.
mind when I hear about
up,
your father,
down,
and I then blend as
up,
he goes
down,
away.
up,
I'm certainly
down.
not blind trying to
That's my thumb
psychoanalyze
there.
you because I couldn't.
I'll deal
But
with being
did
here.
he affect? Did his
X,
teaching style affect your
alpha,
teaching style? You've been a
beta,
teacher for a long
figuring
time.
that stuff
Did-
out to
you-
get the
my
lead, figure
understanding
out
is
where
that
it's
you're not
going, go on
a
those
teacher
timelines for
that your
adjusted
students are
systems.
afraid
It's a
of.
real
Rather,
big
they
psychology
think
thing,
you're rather
because that's the only
compassionate.
thing that
But,
space-times, the
you think
X
they
and
were quiet
O's,
before they
line
came into
them
your
up,
classroom?
probability and or NOR
that's a good
gates,
question.
watching it
I don't know if my dad's
from
teaching
here
style overtly affected me. I
here
think all the interactions he had
and
with me when
saying
he was
one
teaching me
thing
to read
and
did.
realizing,
And I think his
However,
attitude towards learning did, and his
well,
his
we're in the math
fundamental
books
sense
right
of
now.
encouragement. Like I always knew, and this made me very rare among my friends, by the way, because most of them have pretty pathological relationships with their fathers. Where I grew up in northern Alberta, my
This is
dad,
my
I knew
math.
he always
Again,
had my
when I'm
back,
doing fundamental
even when we were at
analysis on
odds with
certain
one another,
theses,
fundamentally, and even when he was
Bernoulli and some
displeased
other
with me.
indexes,
It was almost always,
you'll need,
barring human frailty, because he was
like doing
disappointed that I wasn't living up to
axioms,
the high standards he
Quadrant,
expected of me. And they were high, and sometimes I think they were
potentials.
perhaps
Well, like
unreasonably
I said,
high.
this
It's very hard to
becomes
say because it's
useful
not that
under
easy to figure
a
out
blackboard
how
that
to
slides
balance
around,
that
and which
embracing
ones in the
compassion
manifold
with
and
that the
geodesics right
compliment
now,
that high standards truly
twisted
are, right? I
theory,
mean, that's a tough thing to get right. And
banging
now
it
my
out.
mom,
This being
I really,
a 40,
I always
well,
got along
what I
really well
condensed
with my
out of the
mom, and I
45
could make
minute
her laugh.
Penrose
She's a
twister
lovely
theory,
person.
like
She's
the blue
very
light comes
easy to
down
be
and tells
around.
me to stop.
So,
And then
so
they'll tell you about
I was fortunate, my
non-compressible
parents,
state to
because
it and why
the
you
toughness
shouldn't
of my
try
father
here because of the vacuum
was
problem.
quite
You're not
nicely
wrong,
counterbalanced
Penzrell.
by the warmth of
You're
my
not-
mother.
you're not
And
wrong,
so,
JP.
I was fortunate in
You
that
need to
regard.
put on your dancing dress
And
and,
And many
get your
others,
pearl
but
necklace.
certainly that.
Now
You
you
dance.
eventually became an academic and a practicing psychologist.
There's some basic
clinical
diagrams that are real
psychologist.
important.
Oh,
Some
did they
simpler
encourage-
ones that are
they have-
depending on how
well,
you're
did they encourage
observing
your
them.
reading, your academics?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh yes, books were very important.
You know,
in
you
my
might be
family, and I
looking
learned when I
at
was
a
4.
state
Like books
in
were at the top of
which
the list, and I used
that
to
NP
virtually every
order,
night. When I was
whether it be computer
10,
engineering
9, 10,
or
11,
chemical,
I read a book a day.
net energy,
Science fiction. My
how
neighbor across the alley had a
the
huge science fiction
functions
collection.
work,
And he used to just let me go in there and take like
some
15 books, and then I'd bring
serious-
him back in 2 weeks and take
serious
15 more.
heavy
So I was
duty
reading a book a day.
things that
Up until,
Higgsfield out here,
I think
where
all
it
the way
is,
through
what
high
it
school. I
is,
started
how's it
reading
going,
more
what's the
literature
diagram
in
doing,
junior high.
how things are moving
a librarian there who was a
Here's
pretty
being 5
educated
sigma
woman by the
numbers
standards of
inside here, the
our
range
hometown,
of
sort of tilted me
stretching it
towards
out, the full spectrum,
genuine
figuring
literature,
out
and that's when I started
areas,
reading, I would say,
probabilities,
seriously.
how
And so I was 13 when that happened. So,
Well,
but yes,
here
books
we go.
were
That's
very
my
important
point.
in our household.
Did you read science fiction literature? Did you read much nonfiction?
Well,
or
if you're
was it
seeing the
primarily
results of certain
fiction
things and
when
the
you were
way
young?
it indexes,
It was
gives
mostly
me
fiction when I was
little
younger. Yeah,
clips
yeah.
for
No,
the
I didn't switch to nonfiction till
GP
after I read
23.
Dostoevsky when I was in my early
Oh,
20s.
hey, jump in the
Almost
hey,
all
hold on,
fiction
wait,
seemed
wait.
sort of
Go
bloodless,
back, go back.
but also by that time I was
at
starting my research career, and I got a lot more interested in nonfiction.
Dumbo, oh no, JP, we broke you. We can get you back here. Hold on. What happens? See what happens. You need a kid in
I also
charge
think
of
that's
this.
a
They're doing
maturation
it.
issue, and I'm not saying that in a negative sense towards
Okay.
fiction. Is that
Spin direction from Fermilab. Really?
well, after I read
Sorry,
Dostoevsky
guys.
when I was
It
in
got
my
rocky in there.
early
Again,
20s.
back to the test.
Welcome back.
Go beyond subscribe. Join a channel to help your favorite
Never mind,
creator
for
make
spin
more of
motion
this
direction
and get
and
members
some of the
only
things
goodies
you'll need to
like
know
a
about
secret
spin
banana cake
master
recipe.
spin
Who knows? It's up to them
motion
and you. Join a
mass
channel,
or
give
spin
perks, and show the love.
something like measurement spin motion measurement or direction
I'm
or
going to
both of them.
share with
Sometimes
you
it's AX.
what I intended to
Every
say
once in a while you'll catch
if
it and
I
why
had been elected in
C,
2016.
right? all over the road, just acting crazy.
My fellow Americans, today you sent
Almost all fiction seemed sort of bloodless, but also by that time I was
Down an
starting
apple
my
and a
research
hydrogen
career, and I
an
got a lot
elephant,
more
a
interested in
mouse, and
nonfiction. I also think that's a
and a horse down a
maturation
mine
issue,
shaft, or
and I'm
whatever
not
the
saying that in
experiment
a,
is.
like
You get a
in a
lot of
negative sense towards
electromagnetism
fiction.
on the
Is
land
that
nav.
at some
of
point
the
it just didn't
NP
have the same
orders.
attraction for me as nonfiction started
Things,
to.
the river
So-
here is
No, I
not
know the
necessarily
feeling. I
known
mean,
unless
I'm
it's
trying to
known.
relate it
You
because
know, when you get
I
there,
think it's
probability
incredibly
of that wave function
important and
really
useful.
makes
I mean, I
this
read-
different.
Well, I had
And
more
passing
time.
through
it
the
seemed to me
pipes
then,
the
but
way
I
it
read.
do.
That's all. I just read an
You know,
incredible amount when
springing
I
up
was younger.
there from
All
the,
the time. That's what I did during the summer.
the way it plays
During
and
just reading. It was a way
probability
to get
of
away from the family
radiation
too. I
or
just would
lensing
immerse
effects,
myself
time
in reading.
dilation,
And you're right. It was mostly
rocking out the
well,
pinball
it was some
machine
science
so
fiction
you have it
and-
in
and-
spin
and
to make
literature.
the
But
collision, because
one of the
without that
reasons I asked
known,
you this is because it's not surprising to me that because in some sense you're arguing that all of understanding comes from stories in a way.
Yeah,
And-
well,
So
that's
I
the
see a
thing
lot of
about
these,
the.
like I
surprising
said,
that you
you'll
were,
see it
that your own
unwanted
understanding
congruency
began with
to
stories. I think
XYZ,
psychologically it seems
or
it makes
how
sense.
mathematically
Yeah, well,
it
and
might
also
break,
that
but you'll
switch
see
to
special patterns
nonfiction,
too,
let's say, did
containment functions,
dovetail
things
with
that
my.
don't make sense.
I started to be much more
Help you
analytic
say, well,
in relationship
probability
to fiction.
thinking here.
At some point, especially when I
Back to
started
this,
thinking
the
as a
black
clinical
hole,
psychologist
bottom
and a
of the
research
cylinder,
psychologist, I
dropping
got
the
more
glass
interested in
metal bearing
well,
into a
oh yeah, these are
glass
stories.
beaker.
Well, stories are a particular
Shink.
kind of information.
You know,
Okay,
well,
what are
the
they
lensing
exactly? What's
factors,
going on there psychologically?
like
And
an
I was
envelopes,
doing a lot of
guys,
reading at that point too,
are
at the neurophysiology
spin
level
mass
and
direction to
animal
how
behavioral
some of
biology, essentially, and a lot of it
stuff
about
plays into
perception.
that
And I
Bernoulli
came to
equation.
realize
You
that
change out
the
the
most advanced researchers
the
into
cells.
perception
You slide
were
one of these up or
essentially
down,
making the argument
drop
that
it around,
we actually
change the
look
matrix,
at the world
the-
through a story. And that really,
How?
that was really quite the key insight. I really developed that insight when I was reading Jeffrey Gray's book, The
there we go.
Neuropsychology of
Okay.
Anxiety. And he
Intensity
doesn't ever
here
say that we
for
perceive through a story, but the
magnetism or
frame
whatever,
that he used to
it can get
describe
like, you know, and
perception
so, well, the field would be
was a
by
narrative frame.
diagrams,
And so that was extremely interesting to me. It was a
something
key
different.
insight.
And so we
Yeah,
recognize
no, well,
that
that's- I
spectrum in
wonder where
black
you
and
got that.
white
I mean,
by
that's-
just signal strength.
Again, that seems to
intensity.
be one of your central
Catch you on the next
theses is that the